in the Quran, God basically says that this book is going to be preserved by God directly, you know? So that's why like the Muslims today are really big on the preservation of text and chain of narrations. Like if you actually look at all the faiths, Muslims are extremely like strict when it comes to chains.
So let me answer some of your questions, and then I'll bring Rena and Courtney back in. Okay. This is a tactic created by all newer religions. Newer religions have to, in some way, defang or delegitimize everything that came before, whether it's Islam or Judaism. Why? Because
everything in the Torah is not illegitimate.
No, I know.
Oh,
I'm not saying everything in Torah, but Islam had to, in some way, make a name for itself. Why would anyone convert to Islam when they could have converted to Christianity or Judaism, right? So Islam had to outdo Christianity with what I call cannibalistic monotheism. That's their whole shtick against Christians. With Judaism is that Jews corrupted the Torah. Of course.
What do you?
Wait, hold on. What?
Yes. Well, no, I just want to know. What did? Sorry to interrupt you. I mean, Rabbi, but what did you mean by cannibalistic monotheism? Sorry, I just like what does that mean?
The idea that that's first and foremost on God's list, and that's enough, you know, for God to write you off and cast you into the hell if you don't hold an Aristotelian notion of God not being limited in any way, was something essentially invented by Islam. Okay, although we're monotheists as Jews, we don't put such emphasis on that, right? There's many more other laws that are just as important, but Islam banks on that versus Christianity, and it banks on Judaism being not the right path, on the invention that we in some way corrupted the Torah. But of course they would have to do that because they would have to legitimize their role in the religious world. If not, why would anyone convert to Islam? You know, so it's very convenient. Now, by the simple fact,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's really quick. Like, because I'm so sorry. I don't want to like.
Sure.
Okay. So like, the thing about it is regardless of whether or not the books were corrupted, it has nothing. Islam had to come as a religion to mankind. Mm-hmm. Judaism came to the Jews. Mm-hmm. It was for the Jews. Islam came as a religion for mankind.
But does the Torah say,
regardless of whether or not there's anything wrong with the books? Now, we don't believe the commandments were changed necessarily. We do believe that there's corruption in the stories of the prophecies, and that's where where Islam differs. Like our stories are different than your stories. Okay.
So Judaism was always a universal religion. Always. It's a misconception taught by Muslims that in order for you to be Israel, you have to be born Israel, and that God had a message only for Israel. On Mount Sinai, there stood a mixed multitude of peoples. This is what the Torah says. And they all accepted the Torah, and they all became Israel. It was always a philosophical idea. It exists in Islam. The notion of an ummah is the same idea of an am, where Am Yisrael means that we're a people united by belief and action. Doesn't matter who your parents are. So this notion that we needed Islam to make it universal is only an Islamic notion.
But why? Okay, but you guys, and not just you guys, but Jews in general believe that they're special just because they're Jews, because they were born Jews, because their mother's a Jew. You guys have this in your, in your thought process, and
it's true. The vast majority of Jews behave in that manner, but that does not appear in the Torah at all. God says that if Jews... Wait, hold on. God specifically says in the Torah that if a Jew turns his back on God, God turns his back on them. They shall be cut off from their people. And then if someone converts to Judaism, like King David's great-great-grandmother was from Moab, and she gave birth to King David, who gave birth to Jesus, this notion of blood superiority does not exist in our religion. Do Jews feel that way? Yes. I mean, some Jews feel like that, unfortunately. I mean, just like there's some Muslims who don't live up to Islamic ideals.